Sagittarius, I'm Ellie with PsychicFuture.com and this is your horoscope from the 24th to the 30th of September. So hopefully you got to celebrate the autumn equinox last weekend a little bit and had some kind of frivolous fun and indulgence with your family and friends. If you didn't, then don't worry, there's still time, lots of energy still in the air for this, and I've got a blog post over on Psychic Future website with some little tips and kind of rituals and celebrations that you can try. So now, this week, we are moving into Libra season. So Libra season is this time of year where we're changing the seasons. And this is reflected in the equinox, like we talked about last week. So the equinox is the time of year where the days and the nights are of equal length. And we're moving from summer and the light and all of these kind of extroverted activities where we go outside and we meet people and we do kind of nice things. It's moving from that energy into the darker half of the year. So winter, and the days are getting shorter and we're spending more time inside and we're sleeping more, and we're going more within and learning more things on an inner level. So this perfect balance is represented by the scales in Libra, and I wanted to talk a little bit about this in a kind of like deeper way so that we can understand Libra as a sign a little bit better, because a lot of the time when people talk about Libra, it kind of has this it leans towards the external. So we talk about things like, oh, Libra's very charming, and you know, Libras are hostess with the mostess, and they like art and music, and they're very well dressed, and they're good at talking to people, and all of this kind of thing. And this is true as well to a certain extent, because Libra as a sign is ruled by Venus, and Venus is the planet of relationships, love, beauty. So it does have that kind of aspect. But a lot of that is all very external, so we're forgetting the other side of the scales, and it's quite tipped actually. Whereas the sign of Libra, the scales, is always in balance. It's always this harmony and this equality that Libra seeks. So if we think about that in terms of what is the other side of it then, I think that it is a lot to do with how we view the world around us, how that reflects on an inner level. So if you think about this pair of opposites being, you know, the light half of the year and the dark half of the year, you know, the good and the bad, the yin and the yang, like all these pairs of opposites, you've got the inner and the outer, and the two reflect upon each other. So thinking about this from a kind of psychological perspective, we can look at it in our relationships. This is the easiest one to see this in. So when we go for like a romantic partner, a lot of the time we tend to seek qualities in that person that we feel like we don't have in ourselves. This is why this theory of opposites attract exists, because what we're doing is we're trying to look for the missing parts of ourselves in somebody else. And a really famous psychotherapist, Carl Jung, he came up with this theory called projection. So what he talked about was how when we meet people, we tend to like see qualities within them as outside of ourselves. So if we meet someone and we really like how organised they are, then, you know, a lot of the time that's because we are actually quite organised, but we just don't allow ourselves to be that because we constantly tell ourselves that we're not organised. So then we see it in someone else and we think, wow, I really like that. That's really cool that they've managed to structure their life like that, and I can't do that. But actually what that's telling you is that you can do that. You're just not allowing yourself to do that, and that's why you're seeking it in somebody else. It works on the negative as well. So if you meet somebody and, you know, straight away they get your back up and you think, oh, I really don't like you know, using the same example, I don't like how rigid and you know, over-organised and how like controlling and structured their life is. So, you know, I find that really annoying. Is that perhaps because you need a little bit more of that organisation? Is it perhaps because you would quite like more structure in your life? On a kind of much deeper subconscious level, a lot of the time it's because we're not allowing ourselves to experience that thing, you know, that quality, or, you know, that feeling that that person is putting out, and actually we'd quite like to. So this week, on a practical level, if you try and think about the relationships around you and what they say about you as a person, then that can really help you to become more whole and to really get into the theme of Libra season, which is about balancing the external and the internal. So, you know, ask yourself, what do I love about my best friends? And, you know, how can I be more of that in myself? You know, and what don't I like about people? And how can I allow myself just a little bit more of that? You know, I don't have to go full out and offend people, but you know, perhaps sometimes I need to let myself feel these things that I think are negative so that I can, you know, have this like full experience of everything that I am and accept myself fully. So I'm going to pick you a tarot card. I've got these lovely little Rider-Waite cards, little miniature ones that I bought myself for my birthday. So yeah, let's get some extra insight on all this. Let's have a card for Sagittarius. What's this one? The Three of Pentacles. Okay, so there's going to be a real focus on work this week, in particular honing your skill in some way. So if perhaps you've been feeling a little bit like sluggish at work, this is saying it's going to pick up now. It might even be the case that you start to get more recognition for your work, you know, whether that's from a boss or from, you know, clients or from anybody really, just starting to give you compliments and telling you that you're doing well. And perhaps this is even saying as well that you need to recognise that yourself. So if, you know, you are seeking approval externally, like we've just been talking about, then perhaps you need to give that approval to yourself on an inner level as well, and you know, not worry so much about what other people have to say about your work, and just really kind of embody that confidence in yourself, and kind of give yourself a pat on the back and be like, hey, you've done good, like you don't need other people's approval. So yeah, have a lovely week with that, and check in next week for next week's video. Much love.